Welcome back to the Endgame. We are here in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and I have no idea what part it is. You'll probably forgive me for that, because I really haven't done this in a long time. I'm not going to suddenly start doing one video every 5 months. It's going to be more frequent than that. I thought that I would have my webcam all organized and ready to go, especially by now, but it hasn't happened, so you're going to have to enjoy my voice and only my voice. In some ways, it is superior, because you dial into my voice more specifically. You know, you're not distracted by too much visual information, like, for example, my face. And my face is indeed probably information overload, to be fair. But, yeah, if I ever turn my camera in a strange direction, that's because I've recently been playing a game that has an inverted x-axis for the camera. So, I might be out of sorts. Also on the subject of being out of sorts, I haven't played Monster Hunter recently at all, so... yeah, there you have it. Oh, hey Rome, and hello Davida. Sorry I haven't been reading the chat. That's another thing that, that I'm a bit, what's the word, rusty with. I'll bring up my Twitch chat on my phone. That's probably going to be the best way to go about this. But yes, it has been a bloody long time. Alright. I now have my chat, so if you would like to speak to me, I will actually respond. How about that? Isn't that an upgrade from what you had to endure for the last 5 minutes? Alright, so what we're currently doing is a double Diablos quest. I'm assuming it's Black Diablos. I think the quest is called the Black Phalanges, which honestly is too much information. I don't need to know about your Black Phalange. I'll start with the horns because, in my opinion, any Diablos quest where the horns have not been broken is a bit of a waste of a quest. The reason why I stood there, strangely, is because I'm adjusting my monitor volume. As in the volume that I'm hearing of the game, not necessarily your volume. I think that's fine. Seems that everyone is of the same mind when it comes to breaking the horns. I suspect they might also be going for the tail cut, although that might be difficult to achieve. I'm turning the camera in weird directions again. You may not even notice that I'm turning it in a direction that I didn't mean to turn it in, but it's obviously very clear to me that I'm doing that because my brain intends to do one thing and then my hand does another. My thumb, rather. Davida loves the midriff on this armor. It's considered a bit of a goofy mixed armor piece, but I tend to use it a lot. Just because it has quite high defense compared to its other equivalent counterparts, I guess we'll call it. You know, other mixed pieces that would work for my skills, and you do often have a lot of choice when it comes to that in Freedom Unite. They don't have as much defense as this, so this is one of the good choices. Oh, for goodness sake. The classic Lance experience. And there goes Zanmato. I shouldn't be healing during the flashbomb. And I need to keep well away from Mr. Longsword. I'll attack the legs in pursuit of a knockdown. There we go. And then I'll back hop over to the tail if I can. Not really, that didn't work very well. Nope, that was a complete waste of my time. It was a valiant attempt. It was definitely worth trying, but sometimes you just fail miserably, and that's precisely what happened in that moment. And Ryoga's dead. These guys actually failed the last quest, so I was hoping that they had pulled themselves together a little bit after that experience, but evidently not. What I was really wanting to do there was one of those really clean double evasions with the lance where you do an evade to the left and an evade to the right for 2 attacks, and then you iframe them both. I failed on that account as well. I am indeed alive. Just needed a break. But I'm here now. And he's dead. Well, that is good. Now we just have to not die for this next one, which should be possible because we got this one done very quickly. These guys are like glass cannons, honestly. They deal high damage, but they drop like flies. And the only reason why I can say that with any conviction is because they did fail the last quest. And I think I can see why. Anyway. I should be more reserved in my criticism of the team because I'm playing very clumsily and I am rusty, and I expect that I'm probably not as good of a teammate as I normally would be, so I should keep stum. Yeah, double Black Diablo's G rank for my first hunt in this game in several months is probably not a very welcoming start, but we could also put it this way. It's kicking me straight into gear, so might be for the better. Good to see you as well, Wonderlord. I'm glad you all were able to show up. You've been doing other things, as have I. But we've all come at the same time, so I'm pleased you've all come back. Yeah, I'd better heal them. There is the temptation, of course, to just take advantage of the flash bomb, but I've always been pretty good with that. I try not to take big risks when hunting. For example, I tend to prioritize healing over just getting in there and attacking. It's the people who are a bit too hot-headed. No, we're not going to be failing this quest, my friend. Fuck off, Diablos. That was very close, though, you could see. Hello, AJ. I'm assuming you mean that phrase in both definitions of it. I can imagine failing this, actually, Rome. I think it might happen, but we will see. We will see. If anything, it would be a shame to fail it because we seem to be a pretty competent team, except for the fact that we've had 2 deaths. There's been a lot of chatting, which I haven't been looking at. Not in terms of my live stream, but in the in-game chat. See where it has that little chat button and it says 7? That's 7 messages that I have not read. It's a little bit difficult to read 2 chats and hunt at the same time, which I'm sure you'll appreciate. It's actually safer for me to aim for the legs than to aim for the chest. Of course, the chest is the weak point for Blade Master. But, we've got a Longsword Larry on our hands. Now, I actually have no recollection of having carved the first Diablos. I did do that. Thought I ought to check. Alright. I was just messing with my audio again. I think we're all good with that. Well, it's been a good turnout so far for the live stream. Good to see you all again. Time has just been rolling on, as it always does. I've been doing this for much too long, to be honest. But, that's alright. On to the next stage of live streaming in my life, I guess. Life has been interesting. You know how you have a plan in life? Particularly when there's a moment in time where it changes, like everything changes and you've got a plan. Well, none of that's happened. None of what I planned has happened. So life has been a bit tumultuous and actually a bit frustrating. So coming into here has been, well, rewarding in the sense that I can just relax and return to something that I used to do. And, yeah. I'll continue recording as frequently as I can. As I said, it's not going to be like a once every 5 months sort of thing. I will be doing it at least once a week from now on. I shall make that commitment to you. Hello, Ice Cream. Good to see you as well. The beverage that I'm drinking today, which you cannot see, obviously, is Perno. Perno. Trying to get the pronunciation right. Is it Perno? Perno. It's French. Now, I bought it thinking that it was absinthe, but it's really not. It's absinthe if you're... I don't know. If you like drinking licorice water, or if you like injecting yourself with aniseed. That might be a strange description, but basically, it's a really strong liqueur with the strongest licorice flavor you can possibly imagine. It's not really what I had in mind when I bought it. It was a bit of a shock to the system when I drank it, because I hate liqueur, right? It's too frickin' sweet. I can't stand it, but this is a 40% alcohol by volume liqueur with the strongest licorice flavor I have ever encountered. Because it's an anise liqueur, and while absinthe is anise-based, it's not like this. So I was a bit, I was a bit shocked, but I'm pushing through it. I'm almost done with the bottle, and yeah, I just honestly, yeah, I sort of regretted my purchase, but you know, you just power on through it, I guess. I probably should read these 13 messages. Can we do Furious? Wow, that's funny. People do actually refer to Gold Rajang as Furious Rajang in this game, even though, historically, he's just been referred to as Gold Rajang. But I do understand what Furious means. It's just that Furious is not actually written anywhere within this game, so it would be confusing to a person who hasn't played the later games as to what is actually being referred to. But, I'll bring something ranged. How about... yeah, rapid is what I want. Rapid ice, whatever the hell that's going to be. What is that? Rapid ice. It's not you. You're Pierce, aren't you? Yeah. Wonder if I've even got a rapid Pierce bow. Do I? I don't think I do, strangely. There would be a reason for that. It's probably either very weak or annoying to make. I think I've only got 2 ice bows, is that right? Yeah. Which explains why I usually use the Exterminator bow against this monster. But the Exterminator bow is a fine choice. It is basically your strongest rapid raw bow in the game. Very useful, and I think you can bring power coatings with it as well. Whew, thank God Maido is not an impatient person. Because I technically didn't tell them that I was changing weapons this time. I feel fortunate, because otherwise I'd be stranded. I'd be sitting here like a mug. Like a chump. Just awkwardly unable to continue hunting while live. But anyway, that's not what happened. I'm going to try and stop permanently and constantly, perennially referencing the fact that people might depart without me. It must be getting boring for you guys to hear. I mean, for those of you who have stuck with me for long enough, you'll know that it does happen like once a month. No matter what game I play, I do have people depart without me. But God, you must get sick of hearing it. I must sound like a tortured soul. I didn't bring any traps for this fight, which is just pathetic, but whatever. I brought coatings. Normally I forget coatings, so at least I've achieved that much. Chump is a funny word. Gotta bring him over here a little bit. I just want him to be well over here for when they enter at that southern entrance. I hate having to fight the Rajang on that side. It's no fun. So yeah, we've gone from double Black Diablos to Golden Rajang. I don't know my head from my asshole, because, you know, very rusty, but that's alright. I tend to complain about being rusty when I haven't played the game for like a week. Well, it's a bit more than a week since I last played, so... God knows what's going to happen during this fight, this quest. Well, Zanmato, I think, is shooting paralysis, which is fine. But we want to get the monster, basically with Furious Rajang, or Gold Rajang, however you want to refer to him. He's got the reverse resistances to traps. So at the beginning of the hunt, you want to get him into a pitfall trap as soon as possible before he goes enraged. Because once he goes enraged, he will resist the pitfall trap. So in this mode, you can't place down any pitfalls. And that's the strategy. The sooner you get him into a pitfall, the better, because otherwise you might miss your opportunity. And you'll have to wait. Which is no fun when you're trying to deal as much damage as you can in a short space of time. No! Whenever... There's another point. When you evade or try to get out of the way of a Rajang, it's better to evade to the left rather than to the right, because he does jump more to the right than he does in the other direction. The controller I'm using is a PlayStation 4 controller. DS4. DualShock 4. It is the premier controller for use with the PC. And anyone who disagrees, well... good on you. I've just never liked the analog stick arrangement for any of the non-Sony controllers. Although I suppose Nintendo does the parallel. I don't know if parallel's the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? The directly aligned. Whatever is opposite to diagonal, anyway. Having a mental blank there. But yeah, so Nintendo did do that with their classic controller, and then they went to the diagonal positioning with the Pro controllers after that. So you had the Wii Classic Controller, the Wii Classic Controller Pro, and then the Pro controllers for the Wii U and the Switch changed it after that. Yeah, Gold Rajang is a very big Rajang. He's... I don't know if he has a set size or not, that's a good question. Or a good thing to consider. Does he have a set size? I want to say no, but I also want to say yes. I think the answer is yes, because he's always huge, right? I've never encountered a small Gold Rajang, so I feel certain that he is always big. Which indicates that he's a set size. Forgot what I was talking about before, but, oh yeah. I do like the Sony controllers the most. What I don't like is the stick drift that you tend to experience with the DualShock 4 controller, but I haven't really encountered that yet, fortunately. Not with this one. I encountered it with my original one, that I used to have, but... so far going strong with this controller. Oh, fuck me. I don't know how well I'm contributing to this fight, to be clear, but... I'm not setting myself any unreasonable expectations in that regard. See? When you move to the left, you're generally fine. Or to the right of the monster, from the monster's perspective. As long as I can get plenty of attacks out like that, I should be able to contribute decently. Where I'm getting most of my arrows onto the face of the monster. Hello zombie, welcome to the livestream. Pretty much all of my regulars have tuned in, except for Takashi. Oh, my door is out again. Spending too much time signaling that the monster is there, despite the fact that there's a paintball on the monster. If he spent more time maybe evading the monster, maybe we wouldn't be at risk of failing this quest as well. Well, not that we failed the last quest, but I mean, we were also almost about to fail that one. I definitely went the long way, though. That was not a good decision. Tavita likes the fact that the gunner armor for this set is basically, for the helmet at least, a basket on your head. I can't say I'm a fan of that, but I guess it's eye-catching. No. If we do fail, that will be extremely frustrating, because when you get Rajang into this area, it means he's almost dead, in most cases, if you've got a decent team. There we are. Case in point. Oh, thank God for that. Just drinking some water. I'm drinking out of a drink bottle, which is very uncharacteristic of me. I usually drink out of some dramatically... I was going to say forged. I mean, you don't say. Okay, it's a glass, so blown. A dramatically blown glass. But, no, not today. I've actually got a Lena inverse drink bottle, which I got. But drinking out of it when I'm not on webcam doesn't achieve much. But I guess I can look at her. That's definitely an option. Oh dear. Well, Monster Hunter is always here for you to enjoy it, zombie. You can take as much time away from it as you like, but as long as you keep your save files intact, it'll be here for you. And that's one of the problems with emulating Monster Hunter. A lot of people who maybe are inclined to take extended breaks from Monster Hunter might be careless when it comes to retaining their save file, and then they decide to play the game again after 2 or 3 years, and then they realize, oh shit, where are my save files? I don't mean that you're going to be in that situation. I've encountered that a lot with other people. You know, people that I've tried to get into the Monster Hunter series, for example, who just can't retain their save files. Okay, what next? Barely scraped by in that hunt as well. I won't need to capture any more herbivore. What? Why not? I always capture Aptonoth. I've wasted so many traps capturing Aptonoth and Apsaros. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you did lose your save file. I don't know how you would lose a save file due to an update to your computer, but that's kind of terrifying. So, I'm just looking at this chat, and Mido is changing weapons, but I've got no idea what they're hunting next, unless it's going to be the same monster. It is also slightly ironic that the guy who died twice requests that we don't kill it. So what, you die twice and then we increase the chances of failure by not capturing it. Lovely. Armored supremacy, okay. I don't know how people are changing weapons in anticipation of this quest being posted because it wasn't mentioned in the chat, but anyway. Is Diablos a herbivore? He's got some serious teeth on him if he's herbivorous. I've always hated that word, herbivorous. It just sounds wrong. Carnivorous sounds perfectly acceptable, but herbivorous just sounds like a fake word. I'm sure that must be what it is, but I've always hated that word. Herbivorous. Okay. How about a sword and shield? No, wait, what am I talking about? This is going to be Gravio, so I'll do Pierce. Well, actually, if I could bring something poison related, that would be fun. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's just bring, I guess, yeah, Pierce Ice. Oh no, Pierce Water. Pierce Water. Eraser is what we want. Wherever that is. Yeah, Monster Hunter Freedom has plenty of bowguns for Pierce ammunition. The best one for heavy bowgun generally is Crimson Fatalis. And the best one for light bowgun is the... what's it called? Well, it's basically the Gold Rathian Silver Rathlos bowgun. Both of those are fine for Pierce. They're good for general use, in fact. So... but there are probably other options as well, but I believe that those are the best. Alright. Get some more power coatings. And let's go. Yeah, you're right. I do remember Diablos eating the cactus in Monster Hunter Tri. Still, he's got some serious teeth. Maybe they're just for show. Normally you can determine the diet of an animal by looking at its teeth. Sharp teeth equals carnivorous. Kind of like how, you know, you go to a steakhouse and they don't give you a regular table knife. They give you a fucking serrated knife that cuts the shit out of your steak, you know. Same principle. We are not so different from the other animals that walk this earth. That's why we have serrated knives. Also called a steak knife. Yeah, Garuga would be another good option. As I said, there are other options, but that's just what I happen to use. I haven't really gone in depth with my bowguns in Monster Hunter Freedom 1. Trying to get out of the way of the tail because it's messing with my critical distance. I'm a bit too close to the tail. One of the things that I don't like about using this bow is that I feel that I always use it against Gravios. So it's becoming a little bit repetitive. Here we go, guys. First person mod. I do like to do this sometimes. Oh, I hadn't even noticed that a pitfall trap had been dropped. Yeah, in terms of finding people to play Freedom 1 with in Hunsterverse, it is a little bit hit and miss. There are periods of time where there aren't too many people to play with. When I joined Hunsterverse, it was actually very active, so that was back in January of 2018. It was fairly active. You had, some of the names I remember were Armand, Katniss, some other people as well. But then they disappeared, and then I think in 2019 there was a new cohort which formed, which included people like myself, Sky, other people whose names now escape me. I didn't really play much Freedom 1 in 2018, that's why I refer to myself as the new cohort of 2019 in that community. The sort of Freedom 1 players of Hunsterverse. I would say that there's actually a pretty healthy community of people playing the older titles these days. So if you're referring to first-gen Monster Hunter when you say older titles, Zombie, there's actually a pretty good number of people who play it, all things considered. Thanks to, for example, the Monster Hunter Old School server. That's pretty healthy. Very good for first-gen, and also Monster Hunter DOS included in that. I completely missed that last arrow. Oh, okay. You guys are insisting on capturing, I suppose. Even though Midor requested that we don't capture last time. But fine. I suppose it does speed things up a little bit. Oh, this guy's got the Amezari claws. The ones that make the ridiculous noises. They are actually, for the most part, the best water dual blades in the game. They're not just a joke weapon. That's one of the good things about the DLC weapons in this game. Some of them are actually among the best that you can get. Instead of just being completely useless. Like, I don't know, the Plunger Lance, or the Spear Tuner Greatsword. They're just crap. Probably the coolest looking event weapon in this game is the Gavas fan. I actually have a special armor set just to use that frickin' weapon. Because it has maximum sharpness already, and pretty much all of my Blade Master loadouts use some sort of sharpness skills, so had to make a new set for it. It's also nowhere close to being the best ice longsword in the game, so that's another reason not to use it beyond having maximum sharpness. Maybe the best way to refer to it is maxed out sharpness. Yeah, I'll show it off. Here we go. So unfortunately, you can't really see it unsheathed. When you unsheath it, it's sort of like a black, gold and pink sort of coloration. But yeah, it's a big umbrella. But it's not like a traditional umbrella. No, it's a fan, sorry. It's sheathed like it looks like an umbrella, but it's not actually that. It's a traditional Japanese fan. I'll try to use it in the next hunt, depending on what's actually on offer. The Gava's fan is on par with the Plunger in Freedom 2. Yeah, I suppose it would be. I think that's one of the problems with the Plunger. I don't think the Plunger actually upgrades beyond high rank. What do we got? Explore the unexplored. Well, ice is not really appropriate for him, so I won't be bringing that. I'm actually excited to just do a single Metal Wrath, because people always post Descendants of the King in this game, which is the double quest. And it just gets a little bit redundant, because, or repetitive at least, because it's always the same strategy. And even though the strategy is repetitive, I wouldn't want to do it any other way, because that would be possibly even more annoying. The strategy being to spam flash bombs. Okay, Gunlands. And what should I use? Thunder, I guess. High Volt Gunlance. Unfortunately, this does not exist in Freedom 2, much to my annoyance. That's one of the problems with playing Freedom 2. I do encourage people to experience Freedom 2 just so that they can understand how much Freedom Unite actually changed, even from its high rank counterpart. But you do have to accept that there are certain weapons that just don't exist. Like, you can't get a Thunder Gunlance in Freedom 2. That really boils my piss. Yeah, that is Teostra, the crown helmet. Okay. Is that you, Pavel? I think that is you. Hello. Of everyone in this chat, the guy in the chat called Sagado has been watching me the longest. He's been watching me since I started live streaming in 2019. In the Demon Souls livestream series. Yeah, I mean, I would actually really like a game with the same mechanics as this, but with updated graphics. But of course, one of the difficulties with updating a game's graphics is that the game designers just can't keep their hands off. They have to modernize the game. But that's alright. I'm very used to the way this game looks, so I don't mind it. Should do Wyvern Fire here. But yeah, probably the most graphically attractive game that you can play with a traditional play style, or with traditional game mechanics in Monster Hunter, is Monster Hunter Online. And I guess you can't even play that anymore, so because that shut down in 2019 or whatever it was. I think it was at the end of 2019. It was either at the end of 2018 or at the end of 2019, I don't remember anymore. But if it was at the end of 2019, that would be quite ironic, because they would have seen a spike in the people playing the game in a few months' time. During the spooky COVID pandemic. That was spooky, wasn't it? I mean, it's funny how everyone's just collectively forgotten about that period of time, because it was so bad. Everyone's just sort of slightly traumatized by that. Well, I guess in some cases it was like a 1 year period of time where that crap was going on. But, yeah, it was pretty bad. In terms of what we had to endure, that is. It was worse for some people than others, but I've heard about the Dusk Bloods. I stayed well away from it. One of my policies in life is to boycott anything with an extremely stupid name. And I'm sorry, but the Dusk Bloods? I can't even say the word. I've said it twice now and it hurts. The Dusk Bloods. I've now said it 3 times. I must be masochistic, but the point is that I boycott anything with a really, really dumb name. It might be a bit petulant, but it's seen me well. It's seen me well through my life so far. I don't really know what it is. I just remember someone mentioning it in the chat some months ago. God, this Rathalos needs to stay in one frickin' place. I can probably do a Wyvern Fire, actually. Except that I'm dealing with the wind pressure. Do you think he'll drop down? He certainly will drop down. Was trying to point it away from anyone that might get hit by it, though. Trying not to hit Ryoga here. Which is more than he deserves, Mr. Longsword user. I do need to sharpen soon. Looks like they're going for a capture, possibly. Look, Monster Hunter can be played single-player pretty effectively. It's not a game that you have to play online, it's just I never record it offline. It has an offline mode, which you can experience. And you can play it for many, many hours. I mean, the replayability of this game and what allows you to play it for hundreds of hours is the multiplayer. But single player keeps you busy for a long time, and a lot of people really enjoy that. But yeah, there's definitely things to do offline. You've got separate modes. You've got an offline mode and a multiplayer mode, and the offline stuff has different quests and a different story. Yeah. Certain weapon types allow you to launch other people into the air. As you can imagine, when you're playing in multiplayer, that can cause a lot of arguments. Actually, Zanmator's using the Ukanlos hammer. That is a rare hammer to see. It's got a spinning animation on it. I've actually got it. I forged it not that long ago. But yeah, it's one of those few animated weapons from this period of Monster Hunter. 2 Rathalos rubies, well there you go. What's Mido apologizing for? Did he die again and I didn't notice? I probably should use the hammer, I almost never use it. It's not... the funny thing about the hammer, and I've said this many times before, is not that I actively avoid using it, I just don't think to use it. It never crosses my mind as an option. It's just this weird thing in my head. See how they've all left the room? Probably to change weapons? Well, I've got no idea what quest they want to do. Maybe they're in communication somewhere else as well. In which case, I don't know, just talk in one place, guys. It just slows them down if I don't know what we're doing next. Anyway. I'm actually not sure if there is a particular person who is choosing quests, or if people are choosing in turns, or what's going on. I guess I haven't been very observant when it comes to that. Sometimes modern games are over-animated. Like, they put too much effort into animating it and it starts to look a bit silly. You can have too much of a good thing. Oh, Goldrathian next. Yeah, Thunder again. Now, I didn't tell them that I'm changing weapons, I'm just going to hope that they know that that's what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll be really annoyed. They haven't departed without me yet, but that is still no indication that they're going to be patient with me. I still love using this armor because his head looks so tiny in between those massive shoulder blades. The largest shoulder blades ever. Alright, I'll bring a hammer there. Wait, no, I think they're using hammer, aren't they? So I'd better not. I'll bring a greatsword. Annoyingly, I'll have to gem in my Art of Unsheathing, or whatever it is. Is it Focus or Art of Unsheathing? One of the two. Water. What is my water greatsword anyway? Oh yeah, Plesioth. Feline Ballooner, I don't know. I don't remember half of the feline skills in this game. I don't really pay attention to them. Feline Ballooner. You can eat more. Alright, fortunately they didn't leave in a huff. I can see a Kezu hammer there. Ryoga's just using the same weapon every time, which is fine. I mean, again, I don't want to criticize people unduly, but my god, speaking for myself, I cannot use the same weapon in more than maybe 2 quests. It drives me insane. I need that variety. I'm already playing a game that I have ostensibly finished, okay? Like, I'm in the end game, don't have anything to do, hunting for fun. I need at least a bit of variety. I can't be using the same weapon constantly, even if it's a really good weapon like what he's using. It must just be a form of laziness, I don't know. Oh, little baby! Little baby! That's a very small Rathian, look at her. Crimson Desert, I don't think I know Crimson Desert. What is that? Oh yeah, no, that's true. I didn't even think about the balloon that you can wave at to mark the monster on the map. Great. Yeah, 2 people using hammer is really not a good idea. I mean, hilariously, Ryoga is aiming for the head thinking that it's the weak point, but it's not. I mean, they're aiming for the head because they have to. They're getting their KO build up. But Ryoga, despite the fact that there are 2 people on this tiny head with a hammer, which is problematic enough on its own, he's getting in there with his longsword, thinking that he's helping. I mean, hilariously, instead of hitting them out of their combos, it's the other way around. Typically, it's actually the longsword user ruining the life of the... or ruining the experience of the person who's using their hammer, but I'm actually very entertained to see that it's the other way around this time. But yeah, the Metal Wraths do not have a weak point on the head. In later games, yes, when you break the head it becomes a weak point, but in these games it's just a bad hit zone across the board. The actual weak point is the wings, at least for cutting damage, and possibly impact damage as well. In the case of shot damage, it is the legs, which makes things like normal heavy bowgun quite a brutal combination. Because of course, if your weak point is the legs, it means you're going to be getting trips constantly. Usually how it works is you hit the legs, which is not weak, and then you make up for it by knocking the monster down. But in the case of Metal Wraths and using a heavy bowgun with good shot damage, well, you're getting the knockdown plus the good damage. So it's good stuff. Yeah, usually hit lag is smaller if you're hitting a non-weak point, but yeah, there is always that slight delay when you make contact with the monster, so it can give you the impression that you're dealing good damage even when you're not. I think they're going for a capture again. How cool is that? I love the quick recovery with certain things that you shield with the greatsword. But yeah, that's one of the complaints that people have about the newer Monster Hunter games. It's because when you're hitting a weak point, it doesn't give you that slight slowing down effect when you're hitting a weak point, because it's, I think I said that before, didn't I? Yeah, I said that twice, sorry. But, it really does affect the way that you experience the game. If you are used to enjoying the satisfaction of the game, feeling like it can't even handle your power, the game is struggling to deal with the incredible strength of your weapon. Well, when you go from that to getting no indication, getting no feedback of your strength, a lot of people really dislike that. And there are different levels of this. So they did reduce it in the later games, but for example in Monster Hunter Rise it just disappeared completely. There was no feedback of that sort. But for many people, just the reduction of the feedback was enough to frustrate them. But yeah, it was very much an intentional part of the game design to make the game slow down slightly when you hit a weak point. It's part of what teaches you what's weak and what's not, when they don't have things like damage numbers on the screen. And that's the good thing about Monster Hunter, it forces you to actually watch carefully and experience the game, instead of just staring at damage numbers ticking on the screen. And that was one of the problems with Monster Hunter World. I found that. I was actually spending most of my hunts staring at the damage numbers. And that was the satisfaction I was getting out of the game. So instead of looking at the monster and watching my attacks hitting hard, I was staring at the numbers. So I actually found that when I turned off damage numbers in Monster Hunter World, which fortunately is an option, I was experiencing the game a whole lot more than I was before, because I was actually watching the monster instead of watching the damage numbers. So I would encourage any person playing Monster Hunter World to turn off the damage numbers. Maybe keep them on for long enough to know what's a weak point and what's not, instinctively, and then just turn off the numbers. I think Urza has just barged her way in. But fortunately the etiquette here is well observed. See how Urza asked if it was full? That's what you're supposed to do. You don't just join and assume that there's a space for you, because every time you need to eat or change your weapons, you have to leave the room, so Just because there's space for you in this moment, when you're joining a room for the first time, doesn't mean that someone isn't just briefly leaving to take care of one of those two things. Well, one of the problems with Rise, for example, was that instead of having the hit lag, and hit lag did always exist, I have to make that clear, it was heavily reduced after Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, but it still existed. In Rise, they made up for a lack of hit lag, which they had gotten rid of, with really over-the-top visual effects, and it was just fatiguing to look at. I think they were like spark visual effects. You just had all these sparks all over the place. It was particularly awful when you were in a group. And then it turned into an absolute pantomime when you had 4 dogs jumping around as well. So you've got the visual overload of all those sparking visual effects when you're hitting the monster, and then on top of that you've got dogs flying around, and then every time they hit the monster you've got a sparking effect. It's just incredible, and I don't think that gets discussed very much when it comes to criticisms of Monster Hunter Rise. That's the funny thing. I don't know what people discuss when it comes to Rise, but I just have a feeling that's probably not discussed. But I'm sorry, it's just awful. It's absolutely terrible. Like, why the fuck would I want that? I actually don't know what's been put on the board. I'm going to have to change my weapons. Most likely. Oh yeah, it was Ukanlos, sorry. They're talking about capturing the Ukanlos. You can't capture an Ukanlos. Yeah, pitfall trap the Ukanlos. The thing is, Akantor and Ukanlos are not actually Elder Dragons, but they're in their locations you can't place traps. So it's one of those weird things where it's never explicitly stated that they cannot be captured. It's just that when you fight them, you can't place a trap. Anyway, I might use a sword and shield just for something different. Or I could use it. No, let's use a hammer. I've been talking about using a hammer, and I may as well. I made this hammer recently. It's very ugly, but it is probably the best fire hammer in the game. It's the Lunastra hammer. Now, instead of making it blue, as you would expect of a Lunastra weapon, it's some puke green or booger green. What would you prefer, puke green or booger green? I'm happy to go with either. Let's go with booger green. You know, you've got a monster like Lunastra, and this is what they come out with. It's not often that I criticize the weapon designs of old Monster Hunter, because that was one of the things that they did very well with from even the very first game. A lot of the weapon designs, even in Monster Hunter 1, were excellent. But what were they thinking with this one? It's just terrible. That's why you never see people use this weapon, it's because it's fucking ugly. Anyway, point made. Alright, catch you later, Pavel. Good to see you tuning in again. Did a level 2. I'm going to have to evade or avoid this Ryoga guy. I'll try to hit the head a little bit. I'm not sure how much that's going to work out for me, but I'm definitely not going to be focused on the head. I think what I'm going to do is aim for the legs and then aim for the head once I get the knockdown. Anything other than that will probably be too dangerous. Ugh. One of the annoying things about hammering Akantor and Ukanlos as well is that the lowering down of the head actually hits you as well. It's not a case where you can just easily stand in the right position to hit the head after. Oh my god, that's annoying as well. I'll discuss that in a moment, but yeah, it's not one of those monsters that you can easily hit the head of with a hammer, just by getting yourself in the right position, because if you're in just the wrong spot, the head coming down from a roar will knock you back. The other point I was going to mention is that, quite unique for the Freedom Unite Carlos, and this is his first appearance, to be clear. He's the final boss of this game. The snow blight of his tail swing, when he drags it across the snow, is really frustrating. So it has a very wide area of effect, much wider than it is in Portable Third and the games that came after it. I'll ping for that. That's my apology. Oh, sorry. I forgot that the... Who am I apologizing to? Myself? I forgot that it's a constant effect. Silly me. That is, the roar will constantly damage you if you get in there. It's absolute common knowledge, it's just that, I don't know. My brain is getting filled with other information in my 5 months away from Monster Hunter, so little things like that are disappearing. Oh, for fuck's sake. I was so close to the monster that I didn't see that he was getting on his hind legs like that. Well, I did see it, but much too late. Aha. Now, annoyingly, the leg actually pushed me out of the way, though. I would have been able to get to the head sooner, had it not been for the leg. Ah, missed the golf swing. Yeah, for an unpracticed hammer user like myself, this is really not a good choice of monster to use a hammer with. And the obligatory Mido death. Maybe his name is Midoa, just with a very awkward @ symbol for the A. Oh, God. No! Fuck me, I can't believe I managed to evade that. That was against all the odds, really. Oh, God. I was not worried about getting hit with the tail there. I was again worried about the snow blight. Really hoping for a knockdown there. I hate the fact that I've chosen to use the hammer for this specific quest. I mean, what a way to disenfranchise me when it comes to using the hammer. No. So if you dive too early, you get caught. Just barely timing it right. I'm hitting the monster so infrequently I may as well sharpen up. This is why I don't want to be in front of the fucking monster. Remember when I said it would be too dangerous to do that? Well, as soon as I renege on my own suggestion, my own stipulation, I end up getting a face full of ice. Maybe I can do a bit of hammer action on the face, on the turnaround. I can barely see what I'm doing. Well, I got the golf swing off at least. Ugh. I just feel like I don't have any opportunities, so... My opportunities to hit the head are too infrequent, and when I have the chance to hit the legs, there's too much activity around the legs for me to actually get on target. Either the monster's moving too much, or there are people swinging their weapons. I mean, these are amateurish complaints, but I do feel like a bit of a hammer amateur at the moment. It's a very awkward phrase, hammer amateur. We could even get a third word in there. I'm a hammer amateur. Oh no. Yeah, I have been underperforming immensely. These guys are probably waiting patiently for their KO. Well, patiently or otherwise, they're going to be waiting a long time. Oh, come on, I didn't even get KO damage on the golf swing. That's just rude. No, I do vaguely remember that. Fighting Lavazioth with a hunting horn playing the Fire Res song. Oh, hopefully we can still carve. Oh, that should be fine. Yeah, we can still carve. Because he's died right on that crack that you can't traverse. Well, that's good news. Well, despite not really having contributed in the way that I would have liked, the monster did die pretty quickly. I just carved an Ukanlu's tail from the body. There you go. It's his other tail, it's his lower tail. The one closer to the ground. I could be even more explicit, but I won't. That's a good one, a hamature. Yes, I wonder. His most, sensitive place. I'll be back in a moment. I'm just getting a call. Just have to answer this one. Just one moment. Hopefully these people will actually wait for me. And I'm back. I probably wouldn't have asked them to wait that long anyway, but they've probably left without me at this stage. Yes, did we succeed? Yes, we did. Yes, whether or not I save is contingent upon success or failure. What is happening? Oh, okay, that ended up working out well. They finished anyway. How long have I been live for? Only an hour and 20 minutes. Okay. Well, that means I'm going to have to try and find another room, or perhaps AJ wants to hunt. We'll see. Let me just get my Twitch chat back up. Come on. Time to snipe. A call to rub one out, jeez, yeah. Yeah, I had a very sudden and impromptu urge to, you know, choke the chicken. Okay, so I guess I'll make a haul. I mean, looks like Ice Cream wants to hunt, so I'll make a Hunsterverse haul in that case. Oh, great. Some conversation going on. What is that? And why is that black? Alright, forget that. This thing. Yeah, this guy's been warned a lot. Alright. Maybe Tech will join as well. The Bingus picture is just so funny. I remember when I first saw it. And it just looks so... It's much funnier far away. It's just this very extreme staring face. It's like, what the hell is that? It's just random enough to be quite funny. That's why I use it. Like, if you want to have an emote where you're staring at someone, that's quite a good one. Okay, he's not here. So what I'll do is I will make a room. Alright, so it's going to be Gathering Hall number 8, which is where I am. And, annoyingly, this... wait, who is Liu Liu? I thought I was in an empty room. Now that I've posted it in a room with another person, I don't have the kicking power. Who is this person? Some individual. Well, what I'm gonna do... Give me a sec. I mean, potentially Liu wants to hunt, I don't know, but... Again, I thought I was in an empty room when I was making a quest. Alright. Gathering Hall 4 is the new Gathering Hall. So I'll just sit in there. And we'll see who wants to hunt. Alright, Ice Cream's joined the room, and potentially AJ as well, although he hasn't confirmed. Looks like we've got Frostbite joining. Oh, Chrysos is here. Looks like we've got a pretty full room now. Save a spot. Look, AJ, we do now have a full room. If you were intending to join, I'm sorry, but it's just filled up. I'm going to use the random hunt command and see what we get. It is Red Kezu. Alright. What's a fun water weapon that I can use? Just something fun, because we're going to have a pretty strong group, so it doesn't have to be a very good weapon. I guess Amazari Claws counts as a fun weapon. Oops, not that one. No, I do want that, actually. Why did I briefly think that Kezu didn't have a roar? That's obviously not true. Not that one. Amazari Claws. How have I been? I've been existing. Going through life. Alright, let's see if we've got a full room. Worst case scenario, I'm not going to be able to get back into my own hall. Alright, we've got the whole group. Very good. HR 7 or 8 for Red Kazoo, I don't know. 7. Cool. I suppose I'll put a shock trap in my inventory because I keep forgetting to do that. It's not that I'll be using it in this quest, necessarily, but it's just something I keep forgetting. That's fine, AJ. I just wasn't sure if you were going to join or not. I was concerned that maybe you were on your way and then I was going to say, actually, tough shit, you can't play. Alright, Red Kezu. Red Rocket Monster. Everything, I forgot that. Everything that you do with your character while you have these weapons will change your hunter's voice. Yeah, it's not just the swinging of your weapon. Yeah, I do snap my fingers very loudly, actually. I've never heard someone else snap fingers as loud as I do. It's quite ear-piercing. I won't attempt to do an impression in case my voice gets caught in my throat. There's also the fact that I don't want to be a nuisance. Oh. Couldn't quite get out of the way, though. If you want to get all the sound effects, you can't just be in demonized mode the whole time. You have to also do sort of non-demonized swinging to enjoy all of the lovely sounds. But yeah, I don't think they really did anything like this in the later games after this. After this game. But it's great. I do feel bad for this red Kezu. He's not going to last very long. No, I don't know what he's saying. He's... like, whatever it's saying, it's, very silly Japanese. Oh, okay. The feline dual blades in Generations Ultimate do make a meowing sound when you use them. Didn't know that. I think I have those in that game. Here we go. Let's drop him. Good night. It looked like, he had an explosive orgasm. Like, if you were to consider the mouth of the Kezu to be the head of the penis, there was an explosion on the face while he died, so... I would be... tempted to say he had a very orgasmic death. But there you go. Yes, we've had 2 references to masturbation now. It's just what you need. Looks like he got sick of listening to my claws. Oh yeah, they've been translated to Amezari claws, so... yeah, there could be a translation of what's being said. I got my alluring wings because, of course, there's only one word that can really describe this monster, and that is alluring. There's nothing more alluring than leathery, pulsating, red flesh. I mean, pinkish red, perhaps. Okay. Let's see what we're doing next. Next quest. Oh, fuck, no. I accidentally removed the quest. Hold on, I'm ranting in the chat. One of my pet peeves on this server was the fact that a cooldown had been added to the random hunt quest system. So, for example, I just did that random hunt command previously to choose Red Kezu, and then we, in perfectly reasonable time, got the group together, hunted the red Kezu, and now it's time to do the next quest. But I need to wait 3 more minutes to be able to do it. I think it's a 15 or perhaps even 20-minute cooldown for the command. It's completely unfit for purpose. It was unfit for purpose like 3 or 4 years ago when it was first implemented. The intention behind it was to remove the spamming nature of the command. So, for example, if people did a roll, got a quest, and they didn't like the result of the quest, there was a cooldown to prevent people from resending the command, because it would be too much spam for this channel. But to have the command be that long, to the point where you may not actually be able to re-roll when you complete your quest, I mean, it's just stupid. But anyway. I was fulsomely ignored at the time, and I see that I now have to suffer the consequences even now. Alright, so it's Hypnot. I guess we'll do double Hypnot. Alright. So, a fire weapon, I guess. Alright. A fun fire weapon. Oh, I know a fun fire weapon. I know a fun fire weapon, for sure. Now, do the skills on this set require a slot on this bowgun? No. Excellent news. Where is it? Here it is. Pirate J Cannon. Hell yeah. I love this gun. I don't think this actually... okay, no. This will still be good. This will be fine. Or in fact, it could be more appropriate with... Yes, I'm going to use it with this set. Wait, no. Why would I do that? How very silly. How very silly. There would be no reason... sorry. You must have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. So, the really fun thing about this gun, the Pirate J Cannon, is that you can load 13 flaming shots. Okay? So it would make no sense for me to use the auto-reload skill with a gun that loads 13 shots. Auto-reload makes it so that you never have to reload your gun. So, that's what we're doing. It looks a little bit silly when it's sheathed like this, but when you unsheath it, you know, it's a very, I suppose, regal-looking cannon. Alright. It's going to be a flame shot extravaganza. Let's go. I don't even need normal shots. Sorry, I just need to check something. One moment. Just give me about a minute. I'll still be talking, but... okay. Just checking something. Alright, I am back. So, as you can see, 13 shots. Any opportunity that I have to use this gun is an opportunity that I will take. Out of my way, Frosty, he says as he crosses in front of the guy shooting his gun. I do like the Pirate J stuff in general. I just love the coloration of it. And the theme, I guess. Who doesn't like pirates? Come on! You telling me you don't like pirates? Now, unfortunately, the difference between doing a double Hypnot quest and doing a single Hypnot quest in terms of the amount of time it will take to complete the quest is probably negligible, but I just thought it would be better to fight two. It would feel a little bit more substantial. Out of my way, Frosty. I'm just insufferable. Hypnok, by the way, has one of the most forgiving hitboxes in the game because he's just better designed than the other monsters. He comes from Frontiers, so they just did a better job with him. God damn it. Like how I get hit, but Frosty's fine. Twice! Frosty's like styling on me at this point. Alright. Well, that was awfully difficult. Sorry, I'm just having to write stuff in the chat. Okay. I didn't get all of my calves, which is an absolute fucking travesty. I don't know how I'm going to live with myself. But there you have it. Alright, I need to now roll for the next quest. Here we go. Alright. Chameleos is our next monster. Okay. I could probably use the same damn gun, but I think I would run out of flaming shots. Yeah, making your map smaller is not the sort of cheat that you need to be worried about. It's, because here's the thing, in Hunsterverse we have rules against any sort of cheat that would affect your your progress through the game or give you an unfair advantage. Anything beyond that is fine. You know, like a visual cheat, a sort of aesthetic or surface level cheat that's not going to affect your game in any meaningful way. I mean, that's fine. But it's important to also seek approval for that sort of stuff, because mistakes can be made. Okay. Camellios. Do I have another fun fire weapon? I suppose I can also use dragon if I were minded to. How about longsword? Fuck it. When was the last time I used a longsword? No, not that one. This longsword matches quite nicely to this one as well. As in this armor set. Screen space advantage. Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that the map is a distraction. And so reducing the size of the map gives you an unfair advantage because there is less of a visual distraction. But as I understand it, there is there's an option to remove the heads-up display, is there not? I thought there was. Maybe there isn't. I just went into options and there isn't any such option. I swear there was a way to remove your heads-up display during hunts. Huh. Maybe it's not in this game. That's weird. Yeah, Frosty's got some shoulders going on. Black Gravios shoulders. Yeah, I think you might be right, Dovita. Okay. Camellios time. God, it's been a little while since I've fought him. The thing is that there is a more direct route that you can take to get there, but it's such a long climb that I'm quite sure that it's slower to get there if you take that route. I'm running into a wall. Why is that? Well, there's a reason why. It's because I was looking at the map. Do you like my Barney the dinosaur costume? Do you like my little tail? It's nice, isn't it? I had a sort of weird argument. It wasn't an argument, it was a friendly disagreement in the chat involving myself and a few other people. And a few of the other people were on my side, and it was a conversation about whether or not this armor set was cool, right? And the... I believe that the prevailing opinion was that it looked fucking ridiculous. But there was one person who was like, no, it's cool, you look like a dragon. But no, I mean, it's not a cool dragon armor, it just makes you look really silly, because it's got that little tail. You can't take that seriously. And also, you end up looking like the Hunchback of Notre Dame because of this big backplate. It's just a bit silly looking, in my opinion, but... Not to the extent... It's not so silly that I would abstain from using it. But, you know, it's silly. Shin Barney. Yeah, the ultimate Barney the dinosaur. Or in fact, you could argue that this is Barney in his old age, when he's become old and grey. And he's more evil looking because he's sick of all these fucking kids. He's just had it. He's sick of He's sick of the whole, I love you, you love me. He's sick of it. He's done. He just wants all kids to die. Oh. Gotta look out for that tail. Gets stuck in a terrible, endless flinch lock, that's what it's called. I may as well aim for the tail, why not? How the tail works, of course, is that you deal a certain amount of damage to it and then it will pop off when Chameleos reaches a certain health threshold. When he falls below a certain threshold, then he will allow his tail to pop off. Which is confusing, because if you don't know how that works, you end up aiming for the tail for what seems like the entire quest, but actually you could have just stopped aiming for it ages ago. It's annoying, but it's one of those hidden game mechanics that they just don't tell you about, which is probably printed in fine print on page 12 of the Monster Hunter guidebook 10th edition version 3, Japanese language only. It's just what it's like. That's why if the Monster Hunter series was made pre-internet, there would be so much confusion and so much rumor and just false information. I mean, it was like that in Monster Hunter Tri, and that was, 2010. At least for the international release. And of course, the internet was in full flight by 2010, and there was still a lot of rumor and bullshit. Can you imagine if we didn't have the Japanese guidebooks as a source of information? Or rather, if we didn't have people taking that information from the Japanese guidebooks and putting it on the internet, and then translating it from Japanese to English for the non-Japanese speakers to actually read and comprehend. Well, I think it would be a very different landscape. How smoke bombs work with the monster is that it's supposed to make him produce a silhouette when he goes invisible. Whether or not that's how it works in practice, I couldn't tell you, but that's the purpose of the smoke bomb. So instead of being completely invisible, he's supposed to have a silhouette. I don't think anyone's got a dragon weapon, so we're not going to be breaking his horn anytime soon, but anyway. Apparently I did hit the tail enough for it to pop off, which is encouraging because this means that he will be dead soon. It's a good team. Well, if a smoke bomb doesn't work, you could always use a dung bomb. I mean, why not? For anyone who is not familiar with this fact, dung bombs are not the same in this game. Not just in terms of the effect, but just how they look. If you drop a dung bomb in, say, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, I'll tell you what happens. You drop a massive smoke bomb, but instead of it being white, it's brown. And it's just such a... how do I describe it? It's very visual. And despite not actually being there in the moment, you can sort of imagine what it would be like for the hunters to just be engulfed in this cloud of shit. It's just a massive brown cloud of shit. It's really, really funny. It's only ever used in this game as a joke. You know, you'll get some smartass in your team who's like, I'm gonna drop a dung bomb. They do it. And your fight is basically brown colored. As for the effect, how it works is you drop a dung bomb before the monster actually descends. It's particularly useful with monsters that fly. I don't think it works with any other monster. Maybe it does. Hey, big elder dragon jewel. You always get them when you don't need them. That's how it works. But yeah, I think it really only works, or it's only sensible to try and use them against monsters that fly. So if you've got a monster that's flying down, you drop a dung bomb, and as they descend into this cloud of shit, they are so disgusted by that they fly off. And that is the function of a dung bomb. It's not very good. They do not work if the monster is already fighting you. Alright, what's next? Lavaziov. There we are. The other frontier monster. Could you imagine if they put Espinasse in this game? I don't know if any of you have seen it, but there is an old Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G screenshot from before the game came out, which includes Espinasse. And I don't know if any of you have fought Espinasse in Monster Hunter Frontier, but he's quite an experience. I couldn't imagine him being in Freedom Unite. Visually, he fits, but in terms of the fight, it's incredible. He's, unrelenting, uncompromising, and a bit of a nuisance. But I kind of respect him. I have a lot of respect for that monster, especially the subspecies of him. Definitely an experience when you're playing Frontier. Really? Yeah, what's he doing? I wonder what he could be doing. It's quite unclear. Anyway, Lavaziov. I'll probably keep with the same armor set, and then I'll just change to... what? Well, no, let's use Sword and Shield. How about that? And I do have a different armor set for that. Master Odyssey, I guess? Yeah. I don't know if this is going to be enjoyable at all, but I'm doing it. This will be my last hunt, by the way. Just to try and get the actual VOD that goes on YouTube to a length of 2 hours. What am I doing? Not the urgent quest, that's for sure. I believe we are HR 9 for Lavaziov. Nope. HR 8. Yeah, as I said, you'll be getting more of this. I'm no longer dead, as it were. You guys are writing your goodbye messages too early. You're gonna make people think it's over. I haven't been visiting the farm. I think I actually need honey. Oh my god. I'm down to my last stack. As soon as you're down to your last stack, it's battle stations. You need to start actively going to the farm and getting that stuff. You heard me whistle involuntarily. I mean, I don't even know what sort of... what are we talking about? Herbert from Family Guy kind of whistling? I can't even do his voice. Like, I can't speak and then whistle at the same time. Anyway, hello, Tron. My second oldest continuous viewer. Okay. Pulling out memes from 6 years ago. Not even memes, like inside jokes for the Doomlink livestream from 6 years ago. that is what you happen. That is actually AJ saying goodnight. I think he's falling asleep and he's actually now officially falling asleep. No Asians, yeah. Well, that's just incontrovertible. I mean, we can't allow any Asians in this room. Couldn't possibly. Anyway. I will never forget that person. Because the irony of saying something as generic as Asian is that you do realize that a huge number of people who play Monster Hunter are from that part of the world. Like, not China. I mean, that person was referring to China when they said Asian, right? But the thing is, like, much of Southeast Asia is what comprises the player base of Monster Hunter, particularly the older games, so it's quite funny. Oh. Just missed the pitfall, though. I'm happy to stand behind it. I definitely did tell a story about... so I used to work in a restaurant, and there was an old Chinese guy who shat all over the toilet, covered the taps in the toilet with his own shit, and got on the carpet, and we had to throw away the carpet. And he also got shit on the table leg and all of that, but yeah. Whether or not I told that story immediately after that happened, I don't know. But that was definitely a memorable experience. Alright, come on. I'm glad that it was as memorable for you as it was for me. I was there and you weren't. But it means I told the story well. Come on, get in there. Don't be so shy. How shy is this guy? He refuses to get in the trap. Either that or it doesn't work on the Vazioth, and I have since forgotten that it doesn't work. Well, this guy was definitely an antagonist. An unintentional antagonist in the story of life. Well, even though I'm not using the Amazari claws, you can still hear them. That's for damn sure. It just improves the whole viewing experience by several orders of magnitude. I'm using Sword and Shield. I'm helping. Kind of. Of course, Sword and Shield is quite weak in this game, but whenever I'm in a group of 4, I see no reason not to use it. It's fun to use, and look, it's not like I'm completely useless, so in a group of 4, it's definitely acceptable. There you are. Hey guys, if you want cheap viewers, go to that place, okay? Because that's definitely what we want. We don't want real people to watch our videos. That's crazy. I can't help with that either. I don't know how to moderate anything on my mobile. Yeah, see, if I hold down... Like, if I hold tap the message, it doesn't give me any option to delete it, so... I don't know what that's about. You'd think that they would do that, right? If you had moderation privileges, why would that not just be an option? Anyway. Oh. Tron's been pinned. Dovida is trying his best. Anyway. With that, that is the conclusion of the livestream. First livestream of Monster Hunter in 5 months. It certainly doesn't feel like it. Time just goes, doesn't it? I mean, it might feel like that for you. It's probably feels like it's been ages since you've watched me. But anyway, I do thank you all for watching. I will see you next time when I'm playing Monster Hunter or anything else that I would like to record. I do intend, just as a little sneak preview to what I do intend to do, on this channel going forward, I might do a playthrough of Monster Hunter Stories, the first one. I've never played it before. I'm going to do a live playthrough of it, and then move on to Stories 2. I was thinking that might be an acceptable thing to do on the Link Inverse channel. So, there you are. I will do that at some point. It's on the cards. It's something I'm planning to do. We'll see how we go with organising that, but in the meantime, I shall say farewell. See you next time.